Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Happy Sunday, and that means around the corner, starting probably, although I don't know for sure, this coming week, is we need to start preparing for the next Fusion event. So we are just kind of rounding the bend here on the Victorious Titan event, the Pelops Titan event for the 5 Red Souls. There is 4 days left. That means basically, if I pull up my calendar, it is going to end on Thursday. And there's a good possibility that it is going to go back to back with another fusion event starting on Thursday. They do like to either start fusions on Thursdays ahead of a Friday summon event, or I think sometimes it's been like a Monday or Tuesday. So I guess it depends. It may not be this coming week, but there is also a good chance based on data and the dates of past fusions that this could happen, of course, because we have Easter coming up next weekend, right? At least I'm pretty sure it is. And so that might give us an idea of a new Easter 2026 Fusion event character. That's what I want to talk about in today's video, and also what you can do now to kind of get ahead for that. And there are some things that you can do. Now, before we get started with the video, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started a new account, what are you waiting for? Download using the QR code in the top right hand of the screen and get Tholan Falbeard absolutely free, and get Stagnite, Rector Drath, and Farragut the Pat at accounts level 10, 20, and 30. And don't forget that you can also get this Void Legendary Support Champion by the name of Tahanarak, and all you got to do is use the promo code Desert Queen in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. So, fusion events, right? They live and die by their summoning events, by and large. You can save gems and energy ahead of a fusion event, things like this. I would say that for the most part, for most people, this is not really the problem. The problem for most fusion events tend to be shards, right? They're not always in a high supply, depending on how you use them. And we just had a path event, the Pirates Path event, which is actually just ending tomorrow, I guess, for Edward, right? And so some people might be a little bit low. I think I used about 13 Sacred Shards for Edward, and then I grinded the rest through champion training, so that wasn't too bad. And I didn't really engage in the Pelops event that much, so I didn't. I picked up 3 red and chill. I didn't really go for the 5. So I do have a good amount of Sacred Shards, but for everyone else that's not me, who don't hoard like I do for Sacred Shards, right? You might be sitting with kind of like, quote unquote, not as many kind of other shards. But there is one type of shard that a lot of people kind of don't really think about, and it is the mystery shard. And I got to talk about these green gems because they really are green gems. And of course, where do you get them? Well, of course, you get them just through regular gameplay, and you're actually going to get a lot of them through your campaign grinding, right? I just have to clear that. What was I doing? Oh, I was doing Ice Golem apparently over here. But I want to go. I want to kind of pivot back to the campaign a little bit. I'm just going to do a couple of runs. Now, this is not always. I'm going to actually put on a multi just so you can see it in the background, and I'll come back to this in about 40 seconds. But when you're doing brutal campaign, this is where you're going to get a lot of additional kind of green mystery shards on the side. What you should be doing is doing this and hoarding a lot of them, because you'll be surprised how you can actually clear full fusion events with just these green gems. That's what I call them, green gems, because you never know, right? If you're just kind of wanting to save your other shards for some other event, or a future path event to get souls or whatever, right? Then you could use mystery shards. Basically, it takes me about, I would say, about 2 to 3 months to grind up 6,000 shards, which is a lot, right? Like, I'm not saying it's not a lot, but when you have the quests and the daily objectives, the dailies that you have to do, summon 3 champions, only do 3 mystery shards, do not do any more. The only time you might need to, I think, is this one where you have to summon 25, right? Because 7 times 3 is 18, so there might be like one time where you need to either summon 7 or just be lazy and do a 10 summon once a week. But that's it. Do not pull mystery shards aside from these objectives. Okay, some people think that they need to pull mystery shards in order to get green characters. If they're champion training a lot and you need to get some greens, do not do that through mystery shards. It is better, honestly, if you're really that desperate, just to buy them from the market store. It is much easier than you can save the rest of your mystery shards for future fusion events. Okay, and I just want to kind of go on, click on the campaign really quick here, and we can take a look at the results. Okay, it wasn't so good, right? So for 70, I only got 3. I'm actually quite surprised. I guess the rest of it was actual armor drops. But over time, when you're doing enough champion training, like, this stuff really builds up. And depending on if you're doing more or less champion training per month on a monthly basis, I guess, you can walk away with quite a few mystery shards. You might have seen these, right, as you're doing your own grinding. And I kind of want to pivot really quickly to the internet, right? And so previously, and I'm going to remove my own QR code because this is a screenshot from my other previous videos. Let me remove this so we're not getting Inception here. These were previous Summon Rush fusion events. This was from Galapo the Recluse. I don't remember which epic this was a hybrid fusion event for which guy I don't remember actually. Someone could let me know. But anyways, these were taken from my own videos, right? So summon rushes for hybrid events allows you to get an extra 25 fragments here for that given epic where you need to collect 4 epics, right? So this eventually allows you to skip the champion chase. When you're going above and beyond and you're going to that extra higher level tier, in this case about 6,000 points, that allows you to skip the other shard summoning event, which is usually champion chase, right? Now sometimes some fusion events do not contain a summon rush. I believe this past one had a path instead of summon rush, so that part's a little bit unfortunate. But I think because we just had one, it's very likely we will continue to have summon rushes for a little while now. And where the mystery shard value is a 1-to-1, right? You get 1 point for a mystery shard. In path events, it's usually like 3 or something like that, and it doesn't always translate very well in terms of good value for that. It's usually better to use them on these summon rushes. But if you're able to clear this high tier of summon rush, you can skip champion chase, and those are all the shard summoning events that you need to run for a fusion event. That's usually the biggest block for the mass majority of players. Now, this was for a traditional fusion event, where if you went to 6,100 points, you got a full epic for a traditional. The traditional fusions are what we just had with the four rares into the epic, into the legendary, right, to get the 4 epics. So when you do a traditional fusion summon rush, you're able to skip 4 events by picking up that epic. That is also very huge for a lot of players, right? Not only are you able to skip the champion chase, but you're able to skip others, gear hunters or whatever you don't like, right? So this is a pretty big deal. And why, with the 6,100 points, like that's exactly how much I have in mystery shards, right? I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty close. I'm just about there, right? So I could skip basically the vast majority of hard fusion events by just using these green shards. So don't overuse them. Save as much as you can, farm as much as you can, because if you're free to play especially, then you might need to leverage yourself on this. So with all of this in mind, I kind of want to go over why now is also a good time to farm. Well, at least if you're watching this today, right? If you're watching this later, then maybe not so much. But I mean, if you are still playing for, oh no, sorry, that wasn't the right screen after all, but the events for the Pirate's Path, right? So this is still available for the next, by the time the video goes up, maybe 20-ish hours, right? So this would be a pretty good reason to double dip, not only farming some mystery shards, but also some additional champion training to go alongside some points that you might be doing if you're still trying to grind out a little bit extra. Or if you've already done that champion training for the Pirate's Path, like I did, then you might have already picked up quite a few additional mystery shards along the way. But yes, there is most likely going to be a fusion event coming. I actually wanted to go back to the calendar because there isn't, well, there's actually some stuff on here on the calendar that I didn't actually see before. So obviously the Pelops Titan event is ending pretty soon, but there is some additional stuff on here I didn't see actually. It was a Soul Chase tournament. Not that we really cared that much about it, but we might be getting some 2x Mortal Souls. That's interesting. We have the Fire Knight turn attack, which is ending. There's an Orcs Summon Pool event starting tomorrow. Okay, with Aragaz Wild King as the featured headline. I don't know if I care that much though. I'm wondering what kind of event is going to be for the free-to-play Prism Shard. We'll maybe take a look at that at a later time. And not really too much else, right? You can see that the Titan event basically ends on Thursday morning. And there really isn't a whole lot of plans for that yet. And if we go to the Hell Hades website, I love this, by the way, because you get all the past champion fusions and also the dates and things like that, right? We have all the stuff so far in 2026. If we go back to 2025, now if we go back to April, which was Lysanthier Beastbane, April the 7th. Now, as far as that goes in the 2025 year, was that the first week, though? It wasn't. Actually, you know what? It was a Monday. So maybe it was the second week on a Monday. So maybe that could be the case. But I think it is still in that kind of that period of time of Easter, right? And if we go back to 2024, which actually had Esther Dreamsong, who was like a true kind of Easter related character, was April the 4th, 2024. So that was obviously the first week. And looking at our calendar, right, we have April the 2nd, which would be a Thursday here on the end of the Titan event. Will they jump straight to that, or will they wait till April the 6th? I guess that is the question. But now is still the best time to kind of prepare for things, because that's after we get like a 2 week long Titan event, we are always kind of like into another fusion event just after that. So is that character going to be good? I don't know, but things have changed a lot, right? Because you guys know that the only way to get fusion tokens in Raid Shadow Legends is that you have to complete another fusion event. So, unfortunately, the idea of skipping a fusion event kind of goes out the window when you don't get tokens unless you actually complete a fusion. So I don't think we'll be doing those videos anymore. It was like, we could talk about, is this fusion worth it? Do you want to change for another character? But by and large, you're going to have to try and complete as many fusion events every month as you can, or at least until you're satisfied with the fusion tokens that you have, I suppose. And then if you want to, you could absolutely skip that. But I think in the meantime, it is obviously best to go into fusion events as prepared as possible, which means having as many shards as possible. It means having as much silver as possible, because you need that for gear enhancement. And maybe this is stuff I need to discuss in another video about what the best ways to get silver, for example, if you need to in a rush, and also making sure that you have either energy or gems saved so that you can convert that into energy. Sometimes what I do, if I'm not doing a whole lot in a particular week, I will actually just save the income of energy that I get, because there's lots of ways that you can hoard this going into a fusion event as well. Besides gems, you can actually get this through Doom Tower, Cursed City, Grim Forest, all the different nodes with energy, but also anytime that you claim energy, this will go above and beyond kind of your current energy cap, right? You can go above and start hoarding this one, which is 2 energy potions weekly. You get your daily objective, which comes from, I believe, the classic arena. You get a potion there as well, and some of your advanced quests, right? Energy, and then energy potion. So all of this can stack up into a hoard if that's what you want. If you don't have a lot of time to grind something out, or you don't need to, then there is the way that you can kind of prepare even more so for a fusion to get ahead. If energy is a problem for you, then you can do it that way as well. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Again, going into a new week, we're ending pretty soon, but that also means that we're going to start hearing some news very quickly about what's around the corner in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, before I go, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid yet, get out from under that rock, download using that QR code in the top right hand of the screen. Get Thol and Falbeard absolutely free, and also, and to Hanorak as well. You know the epics anyways at this point. So there we go. To Hanorak, use the promo code Desert Queen in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. That's it for me on Sunday, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you all on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.